When Nvidia announced the RTX 3000 series of graphics cards, I think it's pretty safe to say that we were all very hyped for the next generation of PC gaming. But when they launched the 3080 and 3090 back on September 17th, and the stock evaporated immediately, we were all left wondering, when the heck am I going to get my own? And still, to this very day, almost a month and a half later, I haven't been able to get my hands on either one of those cards. So that's where this comes in, or what's inside of this box. I managed to snag up my very own RTX 3070, and surprisingly, the first Founders Edition card that I've ever owned. So let's open this bad boy up and get some first impressions. I love how Best Buy says, "I want to be a pizza box, please recycle me." It's nice of them. So I got this card overnighted to me from Best Buy on launch. I managed to get a 9 a.m. order, and I was like, I'm going to pay the extra $25 so I can have it here today and be able to take it apart and run some benchmarks for you guys. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. I literally got it, got in the car, drove up to the shop. Ooh, I'm so excited. I've never actually had a Founders Edition card. And then on top of that, I rarely get new graphics cards. Sometimes I'll buy a used graphics card and it will be in like the original packaging and it'll be like brand new, but it'll still have been opened. And literally the only graphics cards that I've bought new personally for myself have been a GTX 550 Ti, that was my first one, a MSI Twin Frozer 290X that was on sale when Tiger Direct went out of business, and then my 2080 Ti, which I bought 10 months ago for $1,300, so it feels pretty good to get to open a graphics card. So inside, pretty well packaged, sealed air things. Put that off to the side. There it is. It actually, oh, it's pretty heavy. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070. It's very well packaged. Like, it just looks really nice. The box is surprisingly square. You know how most boxes have like an edge that's like rounded on it? Not this box. It is sharp as a razor blade. God, it is such a square box. That is hilarious. Wow, that is quite the presentation of the product, if I don't say so myself. It is very well displayed. You can show it off like that. So that's a little bit above and beyond what I've ever seen from a graphics card opening. Like, they're almost always packaged in the anti-static packaging, and you just rip it out of there and throw all the boxes on the floor. But this is actually a very pretty box. Is there anything in this end? Just some packaging to hold it in place, I guess. It is very heavy for such a small card. It is a very small card. Wow. A full-size set of scissors to scale. Not very big card. That is a tiny little connector on it, too. Nice blow-through design. Very small PCB. That is very good looking. I mean, I really don't even have to set it like this because the box does such a good job of showing it off, right? Like, you just display it like that. Very. Nvidia really knows presentation. Like, it looks really good. It feels really good. It's solid metal. Like, very solid piece. I'm very impressed by that. I'm not used to seeing a graphics card feel so solid outside of like an Asus Strix card. Like, this feels very solid, not very plasticky. Well, I mean, actually just no plastic. I mean, maybe the backplate is plastic. It doesn't feel plastic. So very, very quality. I really like that. Let's see what else is underneath all of this. You have a use only the 8-pin supplied power connector, this thing, which is like, it's got an 8-pin on it. It is smaller than an 8-pin. Like, it's about half the size of the 8-pin in height. I don't know how to like show that off to the camera. I don't know how close I can get you with a still detailed image, but it is slightly smaller. It only fills like 6 of the pins in there, which is really weird. Like half of this connector is completely wasted. Seems very odd. A quick start guide, a support guide, you know, make sure it's plugged in, I guess. And that's really all they give you. Has Torx bits on the back of it, little tiny Torx bits for disassembly. Yeah, Torx bits on this side. So you're not going to be able to take this thing apart with a standard Phillips head, like a standard tiny Phillips head like you would use on most graphics cards. So kind of unfortunate. Some of these fins are not too terribly consistent. It's kind of odd. Some of these fins don't actually do anything. They're all for show. Well, I say for show. They're just for making it look consistent, because like all this area over here does not look like it is used on the top half. Underneath it, there's fins that are real, but the top fins are not real. God, there's just fins everywhere, especially the fancy blow-through fins. That's really cool. So now that we have it out of the packaging, let's run some benchmarks, shall we? And I think I'm going to put it up against some of its main competition, for now at least, because we don't have any of the new 6000 series of RX Radeon cards, so I'm going to put it up against a 2080 Ti, of course, because you have to go against the old champ. And then what most of you are probably upgrading from, which is a 1070 Ti. We'll get a relatively good analysis of how this stacks up. It'll be given all of the workloads by our lovely test bench. All right, so for the test bench, we have a golden 8086K at 5.3 gigahertz. We have 3800 megahertz RAM and a asus maximus board, because why not? On this beautiful Yule Beast frame that is currently looking very bare because I have stripped out my system in anticipation for AMD to come out with something incredible, because I'm a little AMD biased, but we're still going to put this to very good use. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run my benchmarks, because I literally just took this thing out of the box and I wanted to give you the most authentic unboxing experience. And we're going to run Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Metro Exodus, because it's a RTX title too, and 3D Mark. But then I have a special test for you, because this is Coil Whine, of course. So I want to get a maybe a 1 to 10 Coil Whine noise certification. See how loud this puppy can get in, say, Furmark. So stick around for that. All right, so I just got done running some benchmarks, and for the most part, it's pretty expected. There's nothing super surprising about the results. The 1070 Ti still holds up really well in 1080p because at that resolution, you're just going to be CPU bound because the CPU is the teacher assigning the work, and if you can only assign so many frames from that CPU, so any graphics card can take in that information and kind of put out a frame pretty quick. But as soon as you cross into that 1440 4K territory, the 3070 really starts to shine in that it keeps up perfectly fine with a 2080 Ti. And remember guys, this card cost over twice as much as that card. As for the trivial Coil Whine score, I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 because it really doesn't have any coil whine, and on top of that, it is really quiet. Like, there's almost no noise. Even at a Firestrike stress test, it only got it to about 72 degrees C, which is 58-ish degrees over ambient. So this card is really cool and really quiet. Overall then, we have a very compelling graphics card. It is small, powerful, power efficient, and very quiet. And at $500, it is an incredibly good deal. A 1070 Ti could cost $500 back when it came out. All of this while having a serious feeling of quality. Like, this thing just feels indestructible. And it looks pretty good. I mean, obviously looks are an opinion, but I think this card looks really good. So there you have it, the 3070. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little journey into a lighthearted product review. Obviously, I don't have a 3080 or 3090 to compare it to, but on paper, this feels like the card to have. It's just right for anyone trying to get into higher FPS 1440 gaming or cinematic 4K gaming. Like always, guys, thanks for watching. I'm super happy for the 50 or so subscribers that I have at this point. It's not much, but I love you guys. And make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Maybe leave a comment because it makes me feel good about myself. And hit the like so I know what you're into. I'll see you next time, and have a great day.